call to order the Board of Library Trustees meeting for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. And Mary Ann, would you call the roll?
Yes. Colada? Here. Deachman? Ford? Here. Hubbard? Larson?
Here.
Russo?
Here.
Fasano? Here.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Is there anyone here in person or online who'd like to make a comment to the board?
Can somebody check on, is there anybody on Zoom?
Two staff members on.
Just two staff, that's it? Okay, thank you.
So with no comments, we'll just move on to number 3 on the agenda, which is approving the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to approve or amend the agenda?
I so move to approve the agenda.
I will second.
Motion by Trustee Larson and second by Mary Ann Fasano.
Thank you so much, Tim.
And I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the agenda is approved. Number 4 on, yes. And Christy, would you do the pledge?
Sure. No more vacations for you.
United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on, number 4, approval of the consent agenda. There's 5 items on the consent agenda. The first is the special board meeting minutes for July 18th, 2023, as well as the regular board meetings for that same date. July 2023 expenditures report, the FY23 IPLAR report, and ordinance 2024-002, transferring funds to special reserve. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda or pull an item from the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as you stated.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
And I'll second.
And second, so Trustee Fasano and Trustee Colada. Any discussion? Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You have to do a roll call vote because you're approving financial.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Mary Ann?
Colada?
Aye.
Deachman? Ford?
Aye.
Hubbard? Larson?
Aye.
Russo?
Aye.
Fasano? Aye.
And it carries, thank you. Number 5, approving the the meeting room policy. And Joe, would you
Okay.
introduce that?
So, let's see, what page is this on?
53.
Thank you.
51.
52.
51.
51.
51 to
Going
53.
once, going twice.
Exactly.
Okay, so at the, just one second. Lisa's not here, so I'm taking the
Sure.
minutes too, so I just have to be able to catch everything. Sorry. So at the committee of the whole meeting, we went over a draft of the policy, and there were a few suggestions made by some trustees for this and the social media policy that have been incorporated in this. And I shared both policies with our attorney. Well, Roger Ritzman was on vacation, but his son, Mark Ritzman, looked over both policies. And he said they were really, they were excellent. He just had a few things to add or tweak. And so those changes, I shared with you in this packet the red line version of what he returned to me. So you can see his comments as well as in blue in the meeting rooms policy. He changed some wordage and added a few bullet points. He did put in footnotes, and I kind of have a thing against footnotes in policies because I feel like we just need to keep this as simple as possible because this is for the general public to read. Not that the general public can't handle footnotes, but I just like to keep things as simple as possible. So I just incorporated those footnotes into the body of the text. And that appears in red. So, that's about it.
I have some comments, some
Sure.
thoughts on a couple of these.
Mm-hmm.
Under reservations, the very last sentence, once the application has been received, a library staff member will contact the applicant to do what? It seems to leave it open-ended. Obviously, you don't want to say to contact you to confirm or deny, because you may not have made that decision yet. But to advise, to something.
To conclude on that.
Pardon me?
Conclude, to conclude.
Or we could just say to follow up with the application.
It's to confirm,
To
it's to
confirm.
confirm the reservation. They get an email. once
So you're
their
confirming the
application-
reservation? Then let's say that.
Okay.
Confirm or discuss, if it's not, if the room is taken, and look for an alternative date. So I contact them one way or another.
So maybe we should just say to follow up with the application, because it could go either way.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
And further, I'll wait till you finish writing.
Okay.
Under rules and regulations, the very first item,
Uh-huh. The one in blue?
the one in blue.
Uh-huh.
At all times, I understand why you're using it. It just seems like a very awkward placement of that phrase. And I have tried to rewrite this sentence 4 different times, and I have gotten nowhere.
This was from the attorney, so I'm
Okay.
sure it's a very legalized way of saying it,
Okay.
or a legal way of saying it.
If he indicated that, or if he wrote that, then we'll leave it alone, because frankly, after 40-some years of writing, I couldn't do any better. It made me crazy.
Okay.
But
Legalese is fun.
he also, if he wrote that further, any illegal activity violates yada yada is prohibited, to me that seems really important and probably should be a separate bullet point. He's
Oh,
made
you
it-
mean to divide those into two?
Yes, he's made it into, two.
Well, what he did, I believe, what he did is he took a bullet point that appeared later,
I saw that,
and he moved it up front. He
Yeah.
wanted that front and center,
Yeah.
and then he expanded on it.
yeah. It just seems so important that I think it should be a standalone, but I'm not an attorney. I'm a
Well, I
writer.
think the gist of the bullet point is the library reserves the right to terminate any room in use by the public.
Right.
And then it lists what those reasons could be. So it is kind of one overlying thought with many variables.
Okay.
That's the way I see it.
What?
Anything else?
Yes. I'm a writer. I read everything. I made notes. Next page. Under the item users, this is may not ask for personal information.
Oh, uh-huh.
So they can ask but not require is how I'm reading this.
Yes.
Okay.
Users may require personal information. Why do you need a for?
Oh. Good point.
And should it really be users may not
Yeah.
require personal information?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
It's like-
for needs to go and not needs to stay in.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Okay.
Users
No wonder. It's-
may not require personal information. Okay. There
What
was
is
some
that?
overzealous.
What is personal information? I mean, if you're just asking for a list of attendees or phone numbers or?
So like if the Mother's Club is meeting and then we're like, hey, new members, would you like to provide your email address so you could be on our mailing list? We can ask for it, but we can't require it to attend a meeting.
Right.
That would be a specific example.
Okay, that works.
So we can ask for it, but not, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any others?
Nope.
good.
I wanted to talk about that paragraph addition
Okay.
on the last page, just because I feel like that is a big chunk to add. So I feel like we maybe need to mention it because it is very different and something that was not in the last policy at all. So I feel like it's something we need to be discussed. I do think it is a good idea to add it for the reasons that are stated there, but I feel like it's a big chunk to add if we're not discussing it. So.
Okay. Yeah, and his comments, I think what his comment says is that this has become a new issue in libraries, and he's seen them include this type of provision in their meeting room policies because it protects us financially, but not from the optics of such an event. It also provides a barrier for these types of groups that may dissuade them from using our library and opt for another library in the vicinity for their event.
I mean, I like it for that reason. I mean, obviously, we're for free speech and all that, but if we have, based on law enforcement or whatever, we're concerned that something might happen, I like the fact that we ask for something up front, basically to serve as a security deposit, but that we're only requiring it in those instances and not any sort of deposit or money for any of the other groups. Hopefully we never need to make use of it, but I like
Right.
that, and that, hey, you have to have liability policy because if something starts at your event, we are holding you accountable for that.
So if a situation were to come up and we were anticipating it to be kind of a controversial or heated meeting of any sort, like the Ku Klux Klan wanted to come and have a meeting at the library, which this is very hypothetical, but in anticipation of such a meeting at the library, we would probably contact the police knowing that it could have a volatile response or just, be very problematic. And that's, in a situation like that, we would follow through on what's written out here. But, the knitting group, no. I mean, it's a kind of a judgment call on my part.
I also think just if we feel the need to have the extra security, laying this out here makes it that that group has to pay for it,
Right.
not the library needs to eat that expense.
Right.
So I really wanted to call that out specifically since it's a big add.
Yeah.
Seems like a very nice proactive inclusion.
Well, I think it's important because more weird things are happening than we have ever seen before. And to say it will never happen here, it's just a matter of when. Somebody say that's discriminatory though?
This still allows them to have the event, so we're not saying no, but it's saying that if we think there might be trouble, we'd like extra precautions to be made to protect the library, and I don't think that's discriminatory at all. But that's a good question, but I also think that wording coming from the attorney shows that he's probably already thought of that
Right.
and incorporated that into the wording.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
On page 51, did you have a chance to talk about those priorities in the box? That seemed like a nice thing to kind of, but I don't know whether that was the attorney's, just his viewpoint, or whether the staff actually.
That's just his comments.
Mhm.
Which, it was just a suggestion that he
Mhm.
had, but I don't think any of the staff or I felt that it was necessary to add it.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions? Then that is an action item.
I move that we approve the new meeting rooms policy with the addendums that we talked about this evening.
I will second.
Motion by trustee Larson and second by trustee Pisano. Any discussion? Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that meeting room policy is approved. And now the social media policy.
Yes. So, the same thing, the attorney looked at the draft of the social media policy, and his comments or additions are in red. Except for where it says the following are examples, it's under guidelines, 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph, fourth paragraph on page 54. We added, came up at the board meeting, at the cow meeting, but not an all-inclusive list. And all-inclusive should have a hyphen, which I caught, and that will be in the final one. And then he had just a few more comments or suggestions to add to those bullet points.
Was he the one who added the situations not covered here at the end?
No, I think that came up at
Okay.
the board meeting.
Okay, I think both of those, the
To mirror
non-inclusive
this.
list,
Yeah.
yeah, it mirrors it,
Yeah, 'cause-
so.
So, one thing he did, we had a talk on the phone about this policy in particular, which social media is just it can be such a problematic tool because of FOIA. Facebook, there's a lot of difficulties with using Facebook when it comes to any FOIA requests that are made. And he recommends, but he said one way we can deal with it is if we turn off comments on our social media platforms. But we haven't had any problems with it, and it is a nice way to engage with the community. But I do know at my last library, it presented a lot of problems with what was going on in our community with book challenges, et cetera, and the election. So we did switch the comments off. But that's just does not seem to be.
Did you do that just in broad strokes over all of it, or left it open for some posts and not others?
No,
Just
it's
out of
just
curiosity.
comments are off.
Okay.
Yeah. And they might turn them back on eventually, but right now, just this climate that they were in, and they're still in, I believe, it wasn't a good idea.
That would be something that we could revisit.
Yes, exactly.
Should we need to do so.
Right, and it would not be a policy change, it would just be, we'd make a decision to turn off our comments.
Okay, so we don't need to add that, we have the right to do that in our policy? Okay.
We cannot remove and delete comments. All we can do is hide them, or we can set it up so that you cannot comment.
Right.
Correct, Kristen?
Correct.
Yep.
Yep.
So. Any other questions?
All right, would you like to make a motion to approve the social media policy?
Second.
Who made the motion?
No one
Nobody.
yet.
Oh.
Christine, would you like to make the motion?
I thought you said you make the motion.
Okay.
It's okay.
Who's gonna second?
I would like to make a motion that we approve the social media policy.
Okay.
And a second?
I'll go second.
So motion by Ford and second by Fasano. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the social media policy is approved. Okay, number 7, the approval of new computers and tech equipment in the amount of $56,791.20.
So first of all, this is a great way for me to introduce Andrew Landrum, who's our new IT manager, and he was able to work with Lisa, and he put together this list and got this proposal from Dell Technologies to outline the scope of this computer project that we need to do. And it includes both staff computers and public computers. We are running into problems where some of our equipment is so old it can't be updated, and they have a lot of problems out of the adult services desk with printing materials often, and it's just our equipment's very old, and not working properly. So it makes work inefficient as well as service inefficient. So we really need to upgrade our technology, and this will take care of it for, you know, probably 4 to 5 years before we have to do something else. So this is not that bad considering how much equipment we're buying, to be honest. We would like to be able to order it as soon as possible so that we can fix some of these problems that we have with the use of technology by the patrons and the staff. This money we could use our building maintenance and repairs fund. Joe has confirmed that that is okay to do. The other option would be to take it out of special reserves, but we can use our building fund to pay for the computers.
And we don't have anything currently budgeted for that building fund this year.
I'm sorry, say that again?
We don't have any other projects currently budgeted for that building fund that we're taking in place of this?
The building and maintenance fund is basically day-to-day operation. It doesn't carry utilities or salaries. But it's basically the maintenance of the building. And there's another item on here too about one of the pieces for the heating system, cooling system. But we don't have any major projects. Anything really major, we wind up using the special reserve fund for. Example would be the chillers. We replaced those. Those were 250 to 260,000, etc. So that would come out of the special reserve. So.
Remind me, wasn't there something about the building fund in the audit where we weren't using it enough or something? Am I remembering that correctly?
What was happening was the reserve was building.
Right.
Which actually was intentional to cover some things that we knew needed to be prepared down there. And neither George nor I were aware that there's provision, I'm careful how I say this because I don't want to misstate it, but where it can be challenged if you're over a certain amount. So
right.
We had, and it's over a certain amount of 3 years average expenditures in the fund. And we were over that. And so what we've been doing is whittling it down to a point where it should be safe to maintain where it is and keep using it for really the day-to-day operations.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. So what this includes is some desktop computers for public areas and some of the staff, but it also includes laptops for the management team. There's oftentimes where it comes in handy to use laptops during meetings. We would like to eventually have some kind of a monitor on the wall in this room so that we can project things on there for a board meeting or for staff meetings, etc. And so having laptops would be really great. We're trying to also work on different ways that we can communicate better with our devices. And we're exploring different options through Microsoft and Google. What's Google Meet? No, Google. It's Google Documents, or not Documents. It's Google Workplace or something, Workspace. But they do have. I don't know if we'll go this route, but we're kind of just looking at it, which is for nonprofits or government agencies like a library, you can use their package for free. But I don't know if we're not sure we're going to do that, but there's different options. But being able to do all that stuff is great because we can be at a meeting and we can be working on documents and making changes and things because we can all be on the same document at the same time. So we're going to have laptops for the management team and see how that goes. And eventually, when we do another upgrade, I think it would be good to have more staff with laptops. And so the laptops, you still have a monitor. You're not just, on a laptop, because that would make me crazy. You will have a keyboard, you'll have a mouse, but there's a docking station, so you dock your laptop, you work at your desk, but you can take it with you when you go to a meeting, if you go to a conference, if you, go to any kind of an event where it would be helpful to have your laptop. So that's where we're going.
And the dual screens. the docking station and things like that.
Yes, it's gonna be, my whole office will be filled with monitors.
Once I went to dual screen, I could never go back.
I know, I cannot do one screen anymore. It's very difficult. So the equipment is coming from Dell Technologies, and Andrew put together this list of all the items that are going to be in this order. So it's 50 desktop PCs, 20 24-inch monitors with stand, 26 monitors without stand. I don't know what a Dell Micro stand is, but is that for the,
That'll be mostly for the patron computers.
Okay.
It is a stand that kind of locks the computer. The computer is about this big, so it locks the computer and the monitor into one unit.
Okay.
For security, also keeps the cables nice and neat.
okay. And then 4 27-inch monitors, and 12 laptops, and 12 are the Dell Thunderbolt 4 docks. Those are docking stations for the laptops, so that pretty much is all of it.
Are there any warranties or things like that?
Most of it, the computers themselves have a 3-year warranty,
Okay.
and the laptops I think are 1 year. And that's coming directly from Dell. They were, in my opinion, pretty generous with their quote. I mean, it's a substantial discount
Okay.
compared to list price.
And Andrew, you're covered for backup computers in case one fails?
We should be. Right now, we're at a point where we have no replacements. So computers are failing, and we just kind of have to take them out of service.
Mhm.
So we're at a point where we have to do something. Once we get these up and running, these really should be stable for years. We should be able to. So we shouldn't have to worry about that, but they will be much easier to repair because they'll have permanent parts in them.
And we will still have, you know, laptops that are available for staff to use who don't have one. You know, we'll have about, I think we have 4 or 5 right now that people can use. So we'll continue to have that. Whatever is the most updated and works the best, we'll keep on hand. So.
Is there any security issue in case one gets missing? Is there?
You mean the laptops?
Yes.
That's a good, you mean, well, I guess, I don't know about damage or, you know, if you have your laptop with you and it gets stolen on the train or something.
Yeah, we can lock down, if that happens, we can lock down somebody's email account very easily. Their Office 365 accounts can be locked instantly with a click of a button. The computer itself, there's software available that we can lock the entire computer if need be. Of course, the password as well, so if somebody leaves it somewhere or if it's stolen, it would be really hard to get into and do everything.
Do you foresee when the equipment arrives doing all of this at once? Or by
Well,
stages?
unless Andrew works 64 hours in a day.
Okay, fine, that's all.
Well, it'll be a process. And I'm not sure what his plan is, you know, where he wants to start, but, and I think Webbit will probably assist to some point, or will they?
We're working that out. They did give us a quote before I started here to image and deploy all of these computers. It was a pretty
It was
high
very
number.
expensive, yeah.
So I can do this myself. It'll just take time.
Yeah.
But no more than a few months tops, I think,
Yeah.
a couple of months even. And it'll all be out there.
It won't be immediate, it'll be a gradual,
Yeah.
you know, as he gets certain stuff ready to go, then we can put it out there in the public or with the staff. So, but it's better than waiting, you know, until longer. The longer we wait to buy them, the worse it'll get.
And that we have somebody now who can do it.
I know, it's very exciting.
And having witnessed the frustration people have had with computers, this is a nice development for us. So I would like to make the motion to purchase new computers and tech equipment. Do I need to give the amount or that's enough?
That's it.
Okay. So motion by Russo and a second
I will second that.
by Colada. Any further discussion? All in,
It looked like a
Let's
roll
do a
call.
It's a roll call.
Yeah, yeah.
Marion?
Colada,
Aye.
Deitchman,
Aye.
Ford. Aye. Hubbard, Larson.
Aye.
Russo,
Aye.
Fasano, aye.
And it carries. So everyone's very excited about this package that's coming for you. Number 8, equally exciting, the new pot feeder.
I have to admit, I have never heard this term before. Oh, I did not know what a pot feeder was. My first thought was it was like a smoking zone or something on the library grounds. Anyway, it's with our heating and cooling system, and it's original. There's a lovely picture on page 17 with all sorts of interesting slime oozing out of it. But it was installed with the building, so it's about 20 years old. And even to replace filters and things, it's so corroded that you'd have to replace the whole thing in order to replace the filters properly. So it's almost $8,000. Is it both of those things in the
Yes.
picture? Okay, and it's for these two lovely looking, sort of beer keg looking things in the picture.
What do they do?
It regulates the heating and cooling?
It's where the water treatment goes in, and there's a filter in one, and the treatment goes in the other, but we can't even open the one. We have to put the treatment into the filter one, and it's just not ideal.
Enough.
Oh, so anyway, so we've got this estimate or quote from Premistar,
Yeah,
who I guess
Premistar. That's-
specializes in pot feeders.
And then, yeah, they're our HVAC company. They used to be
Okay.
General Mechanical, they just changed their name.
Okay,
So it's the same company we always use.
okay. So since it's over $5,000, I wanted to bring it to the board's attention because we'd like to try and get this fixed as soon as possible.
And according, this is what you were talking about, Joe, this will also be out of that same fund?
Yeah, the building maintenance fund.
Okay.
This would be a typical example of
Right,
something that we.
right.
Well, on that note, I motion that we,
This, quick.
that we approve the work for the new pot feeder as stated in the quote.
I'll
Motion by Larson
And
and
I'll
second
second
by
that.
Colada. And a roll call vote. I'm sorry, any discussion? Mary Ann, would you call the roll?
Colada,
Aye.
Deitchman,
Aye.
Ford. Aye. Hubbard, Larson.
Aye.
Russo,
Aye,
Fasano, aye.
and it's approved. Thank you for bringing that to us. And number 9, action to increase the executive director's authority to spend.
Sorry, well, so this was in response to our pot feeder situation. So I gave all of you, it's not in the packet, but I gave you all a copy of our current policy on purchasing authority to spend. And so I'm asking that we just raise that amount that gives me the authority to go ahead and move forward with something like this.
Okay.
And at Lincolnwood, my authority to spend was up to $20,000. Every library does it differently. I did some research, and some of them are as little as $2,500, depending on the size of their community, the size of the staff, size of the budget, but all the way up to $25,000. So even if we just went to $10,000, when repairs like this, which I think Kathy can probably agree, a lot of things are going to cost more than $5,000. Unexpected things. And so as long as Joe tells me where we can pay for it, then, we know we have the money to do so. And it would not mean that I would not inform the board when these types of things happen. It just means that we'd be able to fix them more quickly if we don't have to go through a whole formal board approval for any items that are up to $10,000. Now, and we're talking about things that are unexpected, like a repair, or if we have the option of, if we buy something for the library that we have money for, we just hadn't really planned for it, that was approved when you approved the budget. I don't know that our budget has contingency in each of its line items. Some libraries will have contingency money that would, you could use for those unexpected things, because sometimes things come up that are not just repairs, but are also things that will improve your services or, what you're doing. So the chances of us having too many of these things are unlikely, but a repair like this would come up again. And if it was a very significant repair that was more than $10,000, I would still go through the board, obviously, to get the okay before we move forward.
So from what I'm understanding, so looking at this policy as it's written, we would change the
Section 2.
two places where it says up to $5,000 to $10,000.
Correct.
But that would also change in section B.
Right.
That would be just from
10 to
10
20.
to 20.
Correct. Right.
I think just the way things, putting an opinion before Jenny can come in with the finance stuff, but I do think things are getting more expensive
They
when
are,
we're talking about
especially
things
when
like
it
the
comes
pot
to the
filler
building.
and to the
Yeah.
building itself. So I think the rise from 5 to 10 is not exorbitant, and like you said, you're still going to be keeping us abreast, but I think something like the pot filler, looking at it, it could have gone and just
It
broke.
looked like it was going to explode.
and so I like the idea of just being able to do it and then coming back and informing us later, but still keeping us abreast
Right.
of what's going on.
And the only thing I was going to add is that in your report, you do mention, and it's in here too, in this policy, that this 5,000 has been in effect for almost 20 years,
Yeah.
18 years. So obviously 5,000, it changes, right? So that threshold is a little bit dated. And this does not stop your review of this overall policy as it's written, right?
Correct.
So you will
Correct.
still have this on your list since
Yes.
it's so dated already.
Right.
For the other terms and conditions
Correct.
in the policy. We're just changing these dollar amounts in the short term.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
And we maintain item F in here, which is emergency purchases. So if this had been an emergency, it's something that could
Right.
wait.
If it had blown,
We would
yes,
have
we would
stopped.
Yeah, exactly. It really is just changing that,
Yeah.
wherever it said 5,000 in A and B, it's changing that out.
And I appreciated your research comparing us to other libraries. That helps too, so. Any other comments? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the, increase the executive director's authority to spend from 5,000 to 10,000 in the policy.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Collada and a second by trustee Fasano. Any further discussion? And Mary Ann, would you do the roll call, please?
Collada,
Aye.
Deitchman,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Hubbard, Larson,
Aye.
Russo,
Aye.
Fasano, aye.
Keeping you busy, Marianne.
Okay.
Moving on, number 10. An exciting part of the meeting.
Yes.
And Elizabeth, would
So
you?
the outreach committee met earlier this month to choose the winner of the library leader for 2023. So for the second time in a row, we actually received more than one nominee. So that is always helpful. But during the meeting, the winner was chosen with a unanimous vote. This person was nominated by 2 previous library leader awards, along with an additional third person, because we do require three references as part of this. So nominated by Daniel Russo, Joanne Smith, and Tamara Ashby, I am pleased to announce on behalf of the committee and the board that the library leader for 2023 is Joanne Zillman.
Joanne, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's very well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure you won't believe this, but I really don't have anything to say.
I do want to note, we actually had our meeting and chose you as before we knew of your retirement. So this was not in conjunction with. But yeah, we can show you the letters. They're wonderful.
Well, Kristen did come afterwards and said, okay, Now your name's gonna come up, and I'm thinking, oh no. And there could be flowers, and maybe you want to have Tom. So Tom is, and so while I don't have anything to say except thank you very much, I'm very humbled. As you know, there is a long list of very well-deserving library leaders, and I'm very honored that you would consider me to be one of those added to the list this year. So thank you very much. And it's not just me, because there are a lot of people that have, I haven't read the letters, so I'm not sure what they said. I don't know about them.
All good.
But, you know, this isn't a singular person who's doing. A library leader has a lot of people helping them be library leaders. And those of you in this room are those, and people who came before you, the people sitting around here behind me as well, leadership team, management team, and youth services staff too. So thank you very much for this honor. The only show and tell I have at this point is my husband's here tonight. But thank you. Thank you very much.
And we will be doing a proclamation that talks about all of Joanne's great accomplishments. And there will be a reception to be scheduled.
Now that the person who needs to be there knows they've won.
But I'm usually the one who kind of works on that.
Well, that's not gonna change.
I'm just playing my own part.
You can't leave until you do that.
So more information to follow.
Yeah.
And again, congratulations. It's very well deserved. Moving on. Number 11, financial reports.
Are there any questions about anything in the, oh, yes, Joe has a comment.
Yeah, actually I do, and I didn't pick up on this, and I apologize. Financial reports for 2023-24, it's actually 2022-2023 still.
Oh,
So that will need to be
June.
corrected, so my apology.
June, okay.
You don't see a July statement. You'll see in, might not be in August, in September, you'll see a combined July-August because the audit's just getting wrapped up, and so there's still stuff that has to carry over. So that's still last year's, but that's definitive. Just a quick comment, we had contact with the auditor today, so the audit's going to review this week after a couple of documents I need to send. They will be at the October meeting then to present the audit.
Always a bit of light reading, the audit.
Any other questions or comments? Then moving on, the president's report and comments from the board. Does anyone on the board have comments to share?
I do. Friends of the library, I just want to make everybody aware that tomorrow is the evening sale. It's the first time ever. And it's 6 to 8, and it'll be in the Friends of the Library space downstairs. Also, they had 2 sales this month, and they had $270 for the educator sale and $1,228 for the regular Friends of the Library sale. So a total of $1,500. And September 9th will be the next Saturday sale. Oh, and I wanted to mention that we've got 2 really hot days coming up, and the library is a great place to come if anybody needs to come and cool off. It's just a great place to be anyway, but to cool off.
Yeah.
I would recommend coming here.
Thank you, Christy. Any other comments? For my comment, I'd just like to share that the new superintendent of Batavia Schools, Tom Kim, was here yesterday, and Joanne and Joe and I talked to him and talked about all the great cooperation between the schools and the library, and I think he was very impressed with it. It was another really nice, positive connection with the library. He was really impressed with what he saw, and I think is eager to look for ways to work together, which was wonderful. Joanne, as always, did a great job. Stacy couldn't be there, but we still talked her up. And Joe did not rub in that she has 2 weeks extra service that Tom does not have. So that was very
It
generous.
was really
of
hard
her.
to keep it to myself, but I did.
So that we're looking forward to working with him. All right, moving on, directors and librarians reports.
Okay, so, let's see. We've gone through a lot of the first 6 items that are in my report, but one of the things that we did this week was we switched some of our office space around. So, if you've been back here, you'll know that admin, which was Joe and Lisa and the administrative assistant, Amy, were in this first office, and then it was the director's office, and then it was adult services. And there were 8 people crammed into the adult services room. Not all at the same time, you know, but still, they did not have their own space to work. They had to share desk space. So we swapped offices, and adult services went into what was my office, because it's the biggest room. And so they now have desks that go all the way around the wall space of the room, and everybody has their own workspace now. And they will be getting their own computers once we order these new computers. And so then admin has moved from over here to what was adult services. And now I have moved to what was admin. So I'm the first door when you walk in from the staff entrance. And Kathy orchestrated the whole thing, and it went like clockwork. I mean, you know, we realize we all have too much stuff, but no, she really organized it very well, and it went very smoothly. So I think everyone is pleased, and Andrew helped get us all, our computers all set up, which if he hadn't been here, God knows, it would have taken me weeks. So there was a lot of people helping out with this endeavor, and we're really thankful that we were able to get it pretty much done by noon. I mean, everybody was switched and their computers were up and running by noon.
Wow.
Creative use of space, great job.
Sorry?
A creative use of the space,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
So, that's that. Any questions about that? All of, like, my extension stays the same, nothing else has changed, just where we're located. So, big, huge thanks to Kathy. On Friday of last week, both Stacy and myself, we were at the Swan Expo 2023. They do this annual event, and Swan is the consortium that we're members of. So Stacy gave a presentation on digital archives. She was on a panel with 2 other librarians who, I forget what libraries they were.
Bloomingdale and Brookfield.
Okay. And they talked about, so Stacy highlighted our digital archives and how it came to be, and, you know, kind of how we maintain it. And then I also was taught, I gave a presentation, part of a panel with some other directors from, Melrose Park, Sue Reinders, and Downers Grove. And we did a presentation at the end of the expo for on unexpected, dealing with the unexpected, and it was First Amendment audits, book challenges, and program protests. So, you know, it was a good day. There were some good programs to attend, and we were happy to participate. Let's see. We're going to have Meet the Director. That's coming up, isn't it? Huge. So that's the first one Saturday, September 9th at 10 a.m. They're all going to happen in here, I think. Yeah. And Wednesday, September 13th at 11 a.m. and then Thursday, September 14th at 5 p.m. So I will be here to meet and greet anyone who wants to come in and hang out. Maybe we'll have we'll have some light refreshment, and hopefully somebody will show up.
How are you advertising this?
How are we advertising this, Kristen? Is it?
So it's going to be not only on Facebook, and probably on Instagram and TikTok as well. But I'll send out a press release, and I'll probably add it to some of the community calendars that are free to the public. And it'll just drive it right to whoever has signed up for them.
Great.
I'll
Just
just
be out
on
on
the-
the parking lot, gathering people together.
You have a line out the door.
Yeah, right.
Careful what
I
you
asked
wish
if I
for.
could dress up like Mother Goose, but that was so I will be myself. Anyway, if you want to stop in, please feel free to do so. We have our staff development day is this Friday, and one of Joanne's swan songs is putting this whole thing together. She has done a great job, as always, of putting together a really comprehensive agenda of training and staff, team building, and just building those relationships with each other. Also, there's there's like a quiz or a game about getting to know me better, and we've got lots of things. But the theme is about taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself, psychological safety in self and others. Those are guest speakers from the Behavioral Health Services at Central DuPage, and she's going to come and give a presentation in the morning, and then we have other activities and training, that we're going to do ourselves throughout the day. So it starts around 7:45, 8 o'clock, and oh my goodness, and then that's early, and no, it's all good, and then it ends around 3:30, I think, yeah. So we'll put in a full day, and then the library will be closed for that day because bulk of it will be during the training. So this was Joanne's final staff development day planning session.
It's not over yet?
It's not over yet. It could be, yes, it'll be fine. It'll all be good, so. Let's see, so Amy Grimsey, our administrative assistant, she did resign about several weeks ago. So we are in the process of looking to replace that position. And then we have several anniversaries. Joanne's was the big one, 26 years. But Kathleen Redmond wasn't far behind with 16. And then Mary Scott in circulation 14. So we have, I've noticed this when I do this is only my third report, but I've noticed there are a lot of people who are here for the long haul. So it's kind of nice. And these are this month's. So last is upcoming meetings. So Daniel will not be at the September 7th or 19th, correct, meetings? Elizabeth, you're going to be running those meetings. The things listed here these are things we have to do by a certain date. So it's the building maintenance fund, we have to do the levy for that, and that's the fund we were referring to about the pot feeder and the computers. So it's really important we make sure we do that levy every year. 0.02 doesn't sound like much, but it adds up. And then we do the review estimate revenues and the review certificate. Well, you're at the COW meeting. You're going to review the estimate revenues and the certificate of estimated revenues, which is basically they're two things that go together to the county clerk. And then at the Tuesday meeting on the 19th, you'll just formally approve those fiscal requirements, financial requirements, and that's all. We'll have to be doing the levy soon. I don't know. Do you do that in October or November?
November.
Okay. Well, we'll start talking about it maybe in October, but then you'll go to a final review and approve it in November, because it's got to be turned in before, I don't know the due date, but it's November or early December or something.
I think might be the 1st of December.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. So now we're gonna have Joanne.
And I do have things. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to have Staff Development Day. I know that's always hard to close the library for a day because patrons would like to be here and we'd like to have them here, but it is an important time. We are going to get to know Joe a little bit better, and the other programs are really great. And that is truly a team of people who are doing that. Kathy's got the fire department coming, and we're going to be playing with fire extinguishers, learning the proper way to use them. Stephanie has got a great activity for us to do too, and so it is everybody is working to do a variety of things. And we'll be touring the departments and doing a special feature in each of the departments as well. So staff will round robin around in the departments and see different things in the department that they might not be familiar with. So it'll be a great day. But I'm just going to take a couple minutes to talk about staff. No, I've already talked about Staff Development Day. Summer Reading Club 2023. We just have wrapped it all up. We have our last prizes were called and had somebody come in to pick up their winning drawing tickets for the classic cinemas. We had a great year this year with over a 26% increase. We really did take a dive in 2020 when COVID hit. But we've been coming up every year, but this was a great jump. And I really do credit a lot of that in that we get to be out in the schools a little bit more this year and getting to talk to students. And it was just amazing how many, oh, I saw you were at my school, and talking to them. So that is always very important. We had over 1,100 active readers. Those numbers are getting very close to 2019 numbers. And they logged over 42,000, or nearly 42,000 days of reading. We count days because a lot of the research shows, you don't need to count how many pages. A child doesn't need to count pages or minutes or books. But especially during the summertime, the most important thing is that they read something every day and just keep those skills going through the summer months. So that's what we track. Just read something. If you're reading the comics, if you're reading the newspaper, if you're reading a book, whatever you're reading, it's important to keep those reading skills up. We had 36 sponsors this year. That's 6 more than we had last year, and they donated over $100,000 worth of coupons and gifts. And that, to me, is amazing. We are not fundraisers in YS, but YS goes out and makes phone calls and makes contacts, and we are very fortunate to have a lot of very generous businesses in the area that are willing to support Summer Reading Club. And one of the things I'm going to send around to this evening is this year we had, the idea came up to do brag tags. And so children earned brag tags instead of just getting a coupon or a pencil, which they got those things too. They got a brag tag and then they could wear them. Children have worn them. We saw kids with these wrapped around their book bags and things like that. So they got 4 different brag tags for different accomplishments during the Summer Reading Club. So if you'd like to have a brag tag, or if you'd like your own collection of brag tags, you are welcome to take a chain and whatever brag tags you like. But those were very popular, and children were very proudly wearing those. We also hosted over 80 plus programs this summer and had over 3,500 people at programs, children and adults, in the building and at our off-site events. Elizabeth enjoyed Big Woods Bingo this summer.
Allie enjoyed it more.
And so I'll pass a few pictures around. These are the last few events from this summer as well, so that it was really a lot of fun. So thank you to the YS staff again for all their work in creating a great club and summer activities that engage children of all ages and kept the department really busy. We are cleaning up Summer Reading Club. That's all winding down. We're packing that all away. We had a department meeting last Friday to talk about everything we loved and things we might improve, and already started brainstorming for 2024. That will be something I miss, the Summer Reading Club, that's for sure, because it's always a lot of fun. And we're doing our transition now to the school year. So we're getting ready for, students are back to school. We're getting back to talking to schools about assignment alerts and getting children ready for different class projects they might be doing. And that's my report for tonight, unless you have any questions for me.
It's okay to take 4 of these for 4 nieces.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can
Thank
I take
you.
some to the friends?
Sure. Sure. I can bag you up a few too if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Sure, we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Stacy?
Just a couple of items. Joe mentioned the workroom move. The thing she did not mention is the level of joy that it has brought to the Adult Services Department, which is why I'm here to speak about that. Joe suggested this move, which instantly created joy. Kathy made it completely smooth. She and Felix had everything done and in place. Andrew got the technology all ready to go. By the time people came in for the afternoon shift, they couldn't believe it. So I also want to thank the administration staff for moving into a new space. So this has been a big 48 hours for a lot of people, and Adult Services is extremely appreciative. We are settling into the space. That's part of what was keeping me busy yesterday, as we were right in the thick of, wait a minute, we thought this was going to go here, but it doesn't fit here. What do you think about? And so we've been very much in that exciting moving phase, and also discovering the interesting things that emerge from cabinets and drawers that have been there for many, many years, and we're wondering, why do we have this many 3-hole punches? So we're going through some of that stuff too, but it's a wonderful transition, and we're so grateful, and people have their own workspace, and it's a wonderful, wonderful view. One thing I wanted to mention, and I did not bring the flyers because my brain has been using tape measures and such, but Books Between Bites is getting going. The flyers are hot off the press. Kristen has just printed them yesterday. So we're kicking off Thursday, September 21st, 12 noon, Founders Room, with a very familiar face to this group. Kate Garrett is going to be kicking off the season. Former library trustee and Batavia Depot Museum director. She's going to be talking about a book with a fantastic title, Over My Dead Body, Unearthing the Hidden History of America's Cemeteries. I don't know if we have any other cemetery visitors here in the room. I know this audience, come on. So really looking forward to seeing Kate, hearing her present, talking about a really fascinating topic. Even if you don't think you're in the cemeteries, you really are. So we're looking forward to that. One other thing I just wanted to mention was the cricket card making sessions have been very hot. The other night I was working at the desk, Carly was teaching a session. There was a lot of laughter. It was a mother and a daughter who had come in to take the class together. And I could just overhear that. It's a very joyful report tonight. There was a lot of joy coming out of that room. People were learning this new technology, and they were very happy to be having that mother-daughter moment. And they said, we will be back to use the cricket, and it's all good stuff. So, any questions?
But I want to say I had sent to Stacy of the 3D printed items, one of which was a knob on my dryer broke. So my husband surprised me by working with the 3D printer to print out a new knob, and it's been working wonderfully.
Can I talk about that process? It was really fun.
Okay.
So
he surprised me. He's just like, I went to the library and I
tell the group the color.
You saved yourself $160.
Yes. I mean, like, there was a workaround, or we could move around knobs, but he's like, no, I just had them 3D print one at the library.
And we needed to fine tune the exact dimensions, and he did one of those like fancy measuring jobbies. And sent us a picture of the measurements of the dimensions. Yeah, it was the most pleasant collaboration, because it was like everything we asked within minutes, we had an answer, and we had the thing. We thought that it might be a bit of a doozy that might take us a couple of times, and
with his help, we just got it, you know, I think the next day it was ready to go.
Yeah, so 3D had the little hole in the bag, nice, and working very well, so.
And then Elizabeth sent us a picture of this beautiful blue knob. So, yeah, that was very rewarding.
We put that on social media, they'll be lining up at the door.
Everybody has these
Of all the
things.
things I've seen you talk about 3D printing and things like that at the library, I wouldn't have even thought
Yeah.
to do it. I was like, oh no, we'll take the knob we lose least often, put it there. And then, yeah, so he's like, no, I got a replacement for you.
And it's blue.
And it's blue.
so pretty.
Yeah, so,
That's pretty cool.
Thank you, Stacy. The reports are always so much fun, and it's great to hear how people are using the library. Statistics, did you have anything to say about?
Just that I listed them separately because I'm still getting used to how you put your board packets together. So the statistics are at the end, and we did add. We added, okay, so on page 67, under attendance at library programs, we split that up between in-person and virtual because we do have a significant number of people who do virtual programs in adult but not in children's. And we wanted to show the different ways that people attend programs at the library. So we will continue, so that's why it's highlighted in yellow, just so you know that that's the new section. Otherwise, everything is the same as it was with new numbers. As you can see that, and so like our virtual programs they tend to be like author visits and, big things that you want to reach a lot of people. And the nice thing is you can have an author visit and they could be in Hawaii, but still be here to talk, for the event. So I did an author visit. We did the Midnight Library with the author Aunt Haig. Yeah. And he was in London, he was in England, and we did it, and there was a time difference. And so he participated at midnight in London, and we were here, I don't know what time it was here, it was like 7 or something, so it was fun. But we could not have done that without being able to do it virtually. Yeah. And we had several hundred people who attended that program. It was really fun. So.
The website numbers just weren't available yet.
Correct.
Okay, any questions about directors and librarians reports? 14 are the upcoming board meetings that Joe went over already. So
I think that's just yeah.
16 is adjournment, so I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I will second.
Second by trustee Fasano. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And if you want to see the picture of the knob, I can pull it up.